Hey, what's up? It's your girl Neek, and you're tuned into Neek at Night. And tonight we're going to be talking about this big discussion regarding T.I. and his daughter's privacy in regards to him taking his daughter to a yearly doctor visit to check and see if her hymen is intact. Basically, trying to see if she is still a virgin or not a virgin. This whole incident caused a lot of controversy and backlash for T.I. You had people like Planned Parenthood. You had feminists talking out about it. You had a lot of people giving him a lot of blowback and trying to educate him and try to bring him up to speed on how sensitive of a matter this is and how wrong it is for a father to try to police his daughter's body. Well, he decided to take on the Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett and her mother and try to discuss this situation a little bit further in depth and try to explain what he meant by it and what his sentiments were, to which he claims he was somewhat exaggerating and, it wasn't as big of a deal as people made it seem. So I'm going to first give you guys a recap of what he originally stated about this whole virginity check and about him going to check her hymen. And then I'm going to then let you guys know his explanation on the Red Table Talk. Here is the original comment.
Not only have we had the conversation, we have yearly trips to the gynecologist to check her hymen.
Hey. I'm done with you right now.
So,
Do you go with her? She's a prisoner.
Yes, I go with her.
Okay, so as you guys can hear, he said not only does he make her go yearly to check her hymen, but he also goes with her.
Somebody check on Deja.
I go with her.
She's a prisoner.
So let me tell you, right? So this is one time we go. I think this might have been after her 16th birthday. And this is what we do. Like, right after the birthday, we celebrate. And
we go and check her hymen after.
Then,
What the fuck?
Usually like the day after the party, she's enjoying her gifts. I put a sticky note on the door. Gyno. Tomorrow, 9:30.
Oh, this is great.
And so look, right? So we'll go. You know what I mean? We'll go and we'll sit down, and the doctor will come and talk. And doctors maintain a high level of professionalism. It's like, well, sir, I have to, in order for me to share information, I say, Deja, they want you to sign this. They want you to sign
this right now. I need to know if your hymen's still there.
So we can share information. Is there anything that you would not want me to know? Oh, okay. See, doc, ain't no problem.
Okay, so as you can see, that is the original clip. And right after he had made that response, his daughter, she clearly showed that she was uncomfortable with this because she was liking comments that was saying, how disgusting this was and how, disgusting T.I. was for like invading her privacy and whatnot. And this also somewhat comes up on the Red Table Talk. He talks about how, the only reason he's talking about it now is because how uncomfortable his daughter was for him to be speaking out about this. But let him explain his little explanation or whatever. This is what he has to say in regards to him saying that he was not really, as serious as people thought, and that it was somewhat of an exaggeration. And I found it kind of interesting that for a lot of the conversation, Tiny, she was kind of almost completely mute. Like, she said a couple things, but for the most part, she was mute. They're going to have a part 2 where they talk about their relationship stuff. But for this part right here, she kind of took a big back seat. But anyways, this is what he had to say.
Conversation that I was having in a very joking manner when asked, how do I deal with parenting in this day and age? And so I just began to, from a place of truth, I began to embellish and exaggerate. And I think that a lot of people kind of took it extremely literal, because if you put any of my reputation, like who I am as a father and who I've been, I honestly thought people knew me better than that.
Okay, so to that, Jada responds and she's like, well, there's some of us who know you, but there's some people who pretty much don't know you like that. Then after that, she goes on to ask him if he understands the sensitivity of it all, into which he responds and he says that he didn't understand it at the time, but he does now. And they furthered this discussion, and the more that he talked, the more it was evident that he still don't understand the sensitivity of it at all.
Do you understand the sensitivity of it all? Really?
I did not.
Do you understand it now?
Oh, I understand it now. Yes, I do. Absolutely. However, my intentions, I think, have been terribly misconstrued and misconceived.
Okay, so after that, he goes on to say how people, they misconceived his words. And he goes on to express a few things. For one, he clarifies and he says he was never present inside the room with his daughter when she got the exam. Then he goes on to say that the mother was there as well. So her mother was at the exam too. And then he also says,
so at the time, her mother welcomed your presence and your daughter did too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was never any objection.
Right.
She did have a problem with me talking about it, however.
Right.
Okay, and when he says she did have a problem with him talking about it, he's referring to his daughter, because he then goes on to say her name, and then he apologizes to her, and then he says, I apologize, baby girl Deja, or something like that. But I found it ironic that the mother of Deja, she hit him with a subliminal, and she basically called him a narcissist. So I'm wondering if it was as welcoming as he thought that it was. She responded to this Red Table Talk episode and she said, woo child, the narcissism. So he's claiming that, the mother welcomed him and he was present with the mom and, that he was welcomed and they were all welcoming to all of this. And it wasn't like this thing that people were making out to seem, but the mom is responding and she's calling him a narcissist. So I'm wondering if his narrative is not the reality of what the situation really is, or are we really misconstruing it, or are you just trying to paint it to be a different picture? I don't know. You guys let me know.
Yes, it's hurtful and embarrassing.
She was horrified.
Well, I definitely understood why she would be, feel like, it was personal to her.
Right.
Deja's a quiet child. She doesn't talk a lot.
Okay, so after that, they wanted to know what the difference is when it comes to his sons versus his daughters. And they're like, I bet it's different with your sons.
I always think it's so interesting in how men treasure their daughter's virginity, but not their sons.
And then he goes on to try to explain the difference, which was a whole load of baloney. But I'm going to refresh your memory with a clip. So he made this big old fiasco about making sure to check his daughter's hymen and making sure he does this virginity check, where he's kind of now trying to say, well, I did it, but it wasn't as, I wasn't in the room and it wasn't what people made it seem, blah, 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 blah. But, and then Tiny was like, well, it was when she was 15 and 16, da, 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 or whatever. You guys have to watch the whole Red Table Talk. I can't put the whole thing in here. Y'all know that. But anyways, so they're asking him about the difference between his daughter, and his son, or whatever. So I'm going to refresh your memory. His son had came out to him on the show and said that he was no longer a virgin. And T.I. thought it was like a kiki, like not a big deal. I'm going to show you guys that clip, and then I'm going to show you his explanation as to why it's a difference between his son and his daughter.
You having sex? That's what he said.
Oh, King, that told on himself. You just broke your mama heart. You done went and gave them husbands your innocence. Yeah, you see what he done did? I don't want any of my children to have sex before it's time for them, but who's to say when it's time? However, I will definitely feel different about a boy than I will about a girl. And that's just the God's honest truth. I don't think there's any father out there who will tell you any different.
Okay, so as you can see, his son revealed that he was having sex. They thought it was funny. He says that, you know, he definitely feels like it's different if it was a boy versus a girl. And so when this subject matter came up on Red Table Talk, this is his explanation as to why he accepts it more with a boy than rather accepting it with a girl.
If my son goes out and gets a girl pregnant, how is the household changed for those 9 months? The household does not necessarily change those 9 months. Whereas if my daughter come home, my household is changed immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
So the stakes are higher.
Okay, so even though his son would have a girl pregnant and still should be a father to the child and still have responsibility, according to him, the stakes are higher if it's a girl, as if the responsibility is different. Somehow, some way. I mean, I guess the baby normally automatically in most cases lives with the girl, so I guess he has more of a role of responsibility. I don't know. It's just crazy. But, you know, that's his Red Table Talk discussion. That's his explanation, and that's what he had to say. Like I said, Deja's mom came up and she said, you know, a subliminal where she said, woo child, the narcissism. And so I want to know what you guys think about it. Do you think that there is a difference when it comes to virginity of a boy versus girl? Should it be treated differently? How do you do it in your home? Do you think that it's cool for your sons to, you know, go out and have sex with girls, but you have an issue with your daughters doing it? I want to know what you guys think down below. If you're not subscribed to my channel, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button right now. Do not wait. Do it right now and turn on your post notification. Turn them notifications on. Become a part of notification gang so that you are notified when I post a video, and share my videos. That helps your girl out a lot. All right, guys. Peace.